Om 弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛。
Amitabha. Auspicious greetings to everyone. I'm Lianyi. I'm from Malaysia. Xingdan chapter. I'm the MC for today. Welcome everyone, all senior masters, senior reverends, Dharma Instructor, Dharma assistant, all fellow disciples on Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. If you're on Zoom, please remember to indicate your name turn on your video and indicate your name on the screen so that we can interact better with everyone, so that we can also get to know you better. Today we are going to learn about the sadhana, which is the main practice, the emittance of the three light blessings. We will be sharing about how to do the visualization, what to visualize. Prepare your paper and pen. Master Lianyi will be explaining in detail this lesson. I hope to say hello to each and every one of you. Let me see who's online. Is it possible, convenient for everyone to turn on your video, please? From my screen, I can see our interpreter. I saw our counselors, Dia Yichai. We also saw Dia Jingrong from Kuantan, and also from our Indonesia chapter, our Indonesia interpreter, Dia Yifeng. And also I saw our counselor, Dia Chiuyue, and also Di Wei Hua, sorry. And also from Malaysia, Dharma sister Hui Shang. Oh, greetings from Laozhou to everyone in the chat box. Hello to our counselor D.A. Guanan and counselor D.I. Yufei. So, hello, Dharma sister Yin Shuang. We have about 6 minutes before class starts. I'd like to share with you a small reminder. So a month from now, June 16, please remember the days, the True Buddha Tantra will be having a homework review, the second homework review. So remember to do your takeaway reports, your reflections report. It will help us to recall what we have learned, to revise what we have learned. And once we have done with our reflection report, please remember to go online to DBS Online University and submit your report. So you have a problem trying to submit the homework report, you can reach out to our counselors. If you don't know where to look for the counselors, you can leave down your name in the chat box and we will have the counselors contact you. Today after class, we will continue to have our Q&A, where you can raise questions that you have queries about. You can raise these questions in the comment box or the chat box in Zoom, YouTube, or Facebook, or if you're on Zoom, you can turn your mic and ask the questions. Our master, Master Lianyi, will address those questions accordingly. We would encourage everyone to participate in this Q&A. It's very interactive and it makes the class more interesting. Everyone must be very shy because they did not turn on a number of you did not turn on your video. Hello, DA 瑞官. Hello, Dharma Sister Coming.
阿弥陀佛，有
Amitabha.
龙珠教阿弥陀佛。
To everyone who just came online, I can already see our lecturer, Master Lianyi, online, and our Director of our Education Director, Master Lian He.
还有龙城助教阿弥陀佛，来自新加坡
and the end Long Chen,
师姐，
and also
还有新加坡
Li
的
Qing,
花艺小师兄。
Dharma Sister Li Qing from Singapore.
那再跟大家分享一下一个小小的一个消息，就是
I would like to share a small piece of news with everyone.
将发起为圣尊祈福的活动，
TBF will be organizing an event to pray for blessings for Grandmaster's health.
参与这个活动。那接下来呢，众委会将
I hope everyone will participate actively in this event.
晚上8点
So on tomorrow night, we will be collecting the mantra counts for the second round, which would be which Grandmaster will be blessing and during the next Dharma ceremony event in theater. We are 2 minutes to the start time. Please settle down your mind. We're going to start class soon.
我现在线上看一下有谁开的呢？有印尼的这个莲花印尼 Eternal Dishes， 你好，阿弥陀佛。
So welcome our Dharma brothers and sisters from Indonesia.
师姐阿弥陀佛。莲花燕分师姐阿弥陀佛，你好。莲花剑心师兄，你好。莲花丽兰师姐阿弥陀佛。嘉美助教阿弥陀佛，我们的辅导员。莲花爱妮师姐来自马来西亚的，您好，阿弥陀佛。好，大家调整好。
Please settle down, everyone. We're going to start class soon.
可以调整好心情，我们还1分钟开始了。
We're going to start class in 1 minute's time. It's now 8 p.m.
好，我们现在准备一下。
Let's get ready.
好，真佛密法第2章细说密教。
Chapter 2, detailed exposition of the true Buddha Tantra. Lesson 9, Emittance of the 3 light lessons will start. First, let's pay homage to our root lineage guru, living Buddha Lianshen, past lineage gurus of the true Buddha schools, the triple gems of the shrine, all Buddha. And may we pray for Grandmaster to bless this class. Please form the Padma Kumara mudra and recite the Padma Kumara mantra 7 times. Om Guru Lianshen Siddhi Hum. 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 Amitabha. Welcome, Master Lianyi. The Honorable Chairman, Master Chen Chu, Education Director, Master Lian He, PR Director, Master Lian Jiang, Master Lian Fei, all masters, senior reverends, Dharma instructors, Dharma assistants, and all fellow disciples, and everyone on Zoom, YouTube, and Facebook. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Today, the English channel will be myself as interpreter, and in Indonesia, it will be DA Feng Li who will be interpreting Bahasa Indonesia. Let me first share some news with everyone before we start class. The news is our lease for our diligence homework lease for blessing by Grandmaster is ready. So this is the lease from April 14 to May 15. All your names are here. And Grandmaster has blessed this lease on May 18. So they come from different messaging apps from Line, WhatsApp, Telegram. They all have been blessed. This list of practitioners have been blessed by Grandmaster. So that's really good news. Last week, we learned about the rebirth mantra. So this is the last section. The rebirth mantra is the last section before we enter to the main practice. So when you recite the rebirth mantra, it's akin to planting a seed of Buddhahood in your heart. So at the end of life's journey, you'll be promised your journey towards Pure Land. Let's welcome Master Lianyi to deliver lesson 9, which is Emittance of the Three Light Blessings. Let's put a palm together and pay homage to our root lineage guru, living Buddha Lian Shen, past lineage gurus of True Buddha School, all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, Dharma protectors of the shrine. The Honorable Chairman, Master Chen Chu, Education Director, Master Lian He, PR Director, Master Lian Jiang, Master Lian Fei, all Masters, Senior Reverends, Dharma instructors, Dharma assistants, and all fellow disciples, Master of Ceremonies, all counselors. Hello everyone, Amitabha. Today we will continue with chapter 2, detailed exposition of the Through Buddha Tantra. I will be delivering lesson 9, Emittance of the Three Light Blessings. As usual, let's first do a recap. First question, what is the rebirth mantra? What is the rebirth mudra? Please type your answer in the chat box. Question is, what is the rebirth mudra? The answer is the Great Ocean Deliverance Mudra. Question 2. In the Dharma image, Amitabha Buddha is holding a lotus in one hand. What is the item in the other hand? Let's give everyone a bit of time. And most have given the right answer. It's the wish fulfilling mudra. Question 3. Which of the 5 wisdoms of Mahavajrayana does does Amitabha Buddha represent? Which are the 5 wisdoms of Mahavajana does Amitabha Buddha represent? So everyone, most of you has gotten to answer. So everyone did their homework, did revise your, which is answers the discriminating wisdom. So we are done. So let's enter into the preface for lesson 9. A tantric sadhana comprises the preliminary practice, main practice, and closing practice. So the main practice of the true Buddha Tantra includes visualization, mantra recitation, and entering to samadhi. The main practice will begin with the emittance of the 3 light blessings, which is one of the visualizations in the main practice. Let me share with you a story about the power of visualization. In fact, a lot of things you have attained achievement through visualization. For example, in the mundane world, especially for sports people, Muhammad Ali. So apart from training his physical endurance and strength, most of the time, he used the power of visualization. So that's this golf player. One of the homework that has to do is before the golf competition, he has to do visualization. So he is the king of golf. Another one would be a marathon runner. I'd like to share with you his experience. In 1984, during an international marathon in Tokyo, Yamada Motoichi won the world championship unexpectedly. So he's not a famous runner. He's not famous. But unexpectedly, he won the world championship for the marathon. So the reporter asked him, how did he achieve such an amazing result? How did he beat his opponents? He said simply, overcome your opponent with wisdom. That's all he said. So many people were puzzled. So 2 years later, during another race in Italy, in Milan, there was again an international marathon, and Yamada Motoichi participated in this marathon. Again, he won the championship. Again, a reporter asked him, the last time you competed in your country, in Japan, you won the world championship. And this time in Milan, can you beat your opponents again? Can you talk about your experience? Yamada Motoichi has a very dull temperament and is not good at talking. He gave the same answer as the last time, which is win your opponents via true wisdom. Though puzzled by his words, the reporters did not mock him this time. And 10 years later, he wrote an autobiography and he revealed, this is how I won my opponents. So before each competition, I will drive to look at the route of the competition carefully. And I will draw the more eye-catching landmarks along the way. For example, if the first landmark is a bank, I will draw it down. I write it down. And second landmark is a big tree, or the third landmark is a red house. He will pen it down. So in the whole entire 40 odd kilometers race, he's broken down into smaller goals. So when he returns home, his homework will be to visualize the route. So when the race starts, he will run with his mind to his first target. And once he has reached the first target, he will run towards his second target with the same speed. And again, he could run very quickly. So this 40 odd kilometer race is broken down into several small targets, and he finished the race easily. At first, he didn't understand the logic behind it because he set the finishing line as his goal in the race. And as a result, he was exhausted after running about 10 odd kilometers.
所以呢，他就想到用这个方法，结果
And
呢
that's how he came up with this method to break down the marathon into several small targets. So when he has broken it down into smaller targets, it's easier to achieve his goal and complete the race. Even before the race, he was already visualizing, imprinting each target in his mind. So people did not walk through the route, but he did. And that gave him an advantage during the race. So that's how he used wisdom to win his opponents. What do you have? Do you have a reflection from this story? Just now we talk about a tantric practice has the main practice, sorry, the prelim practice, the main practice, and the closing practice. The reason why you have to practice the prelim practice is because you need to achieve the results of the main practice. So it's the same akin to how he broke down the 40 kilometers race into smaller targets. So which means he did his homework by going through the road. That is his prelim practice. So in terms of visualization, he's worked hard at it as well. So that's the saying that says practice makes perfect. So that's the reason why we should have prelim practice, main practice. So the main practice will be running the actual marathon. I believe he has the closing practice as well, which is writing his autobiography. So through his autobiography, he was telling everyone to let them know the closing practice of his marathons, that share with everyone his realization. And in the tantric practice, the closing practice will be to do merits dedication, to wish everyone to be reborn in Pure Land. So similarly, when we do our closing practice and do our merits dedication, we hope that everyone will be reborn in Pure Land. Similarly, he hoped that through his autobiography, which is his closing practice, that everyone will learn from his experience. So in fact, you can't do one without the other. So how do you visualize emittance of the three light blessings? This will be illustrated with Amitabha Buddha as an example, as the practice for each main deity is different. To understand the detailed visualization for the different main deities, please refer to Living Buddha Lianyi, Book 63, Ultimate Secret of True Buddha Tantras. Visualization for main practice. First, you have to form the mudra of the main deity of the cultivation. If one is cultivating the Amitabha practice, form the root mudra of Amitabha. Empty your mind of all thoughts and recite the emptiness mantra for blessings, followed by visualization. So the mudra is the dhyana mudra. What visualization do we do before the emptiness mantra? You visualize a vast, clear blue sky, cloudless and sunny, and contemplate on a state of emptiness, just like being on an airplane above the clouds and looking into the sky. The weather is very, very clear without impurity, cloudless and clear. After imprinting this in your mind, recite the emptiness mantra 3 times, which is Om Supava Sutta Sarva Darva Supava Sutohang. You recite this 3 times. So part of our cultivation, our practice, we have to visualize emptiness. In fact, in our daily life, we should also visualize emptiness. So we have to understand the meaning of all phenomena. And that's a saying that Grandmaster says, one should view everything which one has obtained as being impermanent and empty. So when we talk about emptiness, we are not talking about none. We're not talking about nothing. It's always changing. All phenomena are impermanent. I remember there was a time when I was doing Dharma propagation in Brunei. We were doing some casual talking. In fact, Malaysia and Brunei are very near. Maybe because of some policies in Brunei. For example, when you buy houses in Brunei, you only have the right to use. It's temporary, but not the right to own. So the houses actually, the land actually all belongs to the government. You could only rent, like lease the house for say 60 years, and after 60 years you have the return. You either extend the lease or you return it to the government. So in Brunei, you have the right to use, but not the right to own. So this is temporary. So that's the reason why a lot of our Dharma brothers and sisters migrate to Canada. There was also a time when I visited another chapter. My fellow disciples' mother had passed away. And then they found about 80K Malaysia ringgit in her room. This is in Malaysia, so it's quite a big sum. The fellow disciple mother was very frugal. She would put the money in the cupboard and even below the bed. And in the end, he can't bring this money along with him in her afterlife. So we must know how to utilize our money wisely. Like I already said, you can't bring your money along in the afterlife. In fact, not only the money, everything you can bring along with you in the afterlife. So when we are engaged in Buddhi works like helping people, um, giving dana,
那还有一个呢，同门就跟我说，他很喜欢买钻石。
So another fellow disciple shared with me that she loves to buy diamonds, but because of security and safety is an issue where she stays, she's not able to wear the diamonds, so she kept them in a safe at the bank. What she does is every month she'll retrieve the diamonds from the safe and then she'll wear them for a little while and then put them back again. And I told her, in fact, the diamonds does not belong to you. They are not yours. She can only look at them every once in a while when she goes to the bank. Just like what Grandmaster has said, one should view everything which one has obtained as impermanent and empty. So I think this is so applicable to our everyday life. When we apply what Grandmaster says, we will learn how to have less attachment. The moon disc visualization. Form the Amitabha Mudra. Next, visualize the void. The ocean is below and the sky is above. From the horizon of the ocean, a huge moon disk rises. Between the sky and ocean hangs a perfect blue moon disk. This is the moon disk visualization. Visualize the seed syllable transform into your idam. Next, visualize a red seed syllable sear in the moon disk, emitting red light brightly. The seer syllable rotates and transforms into Amitabha Buddha. His hands form the Dhyana Mudra. His alms bowl is filled with nectar, and his gentle eyes are looking at all sentient beings. And next, visualize the nectar in Amitabha's alms bowl transforming into nectar, emitting white light. The white light ascends, forms an arc, and enters the cultivator through their crown chakra. At this instant, the cultivator becomes as transparent as white crystals, and all karma is eliminated. Or you can also visualize the lotus in Amitabha's hand emitting the white light onto the cultivator. I'm sure when everyone practice, you will have the visualization of the mundis and the sadhana. After doing the mundis visualization, then we will visualize the sixth syllable. And the sixth syllable should be in Sanskrit, emitting red light.
就是从就是月轮在外面，就好像这个呢，从 U 旋转，就是顺时钟旋转。
So this rotation will be in clockwise direction, and as it rotates, it will become an Amitabha Buddha. So how should the Amitabha that appears from the sixth syllable looks like? It should be the image of a Amitabha Buddha which you have the most affinity with. So the red light, the emitted red light will enter the cultivator through your crown chakra. So what does the Amitabha and the moon disk symbolize? Amitabha Buddha is the Dhammakaya of a cultivator. Within this body, there are three visualizations we already spoke about. early on is the Mundis visualization, 6-syllable visualization, and the Idam visualization. The Idam is the personal deity. So this is the main practice. Visualizations are in the main practice of the sadhana. The Mundis is the city of Buddha land. The 6-syllable visualization is Buddha nature. The Idam of Amitabha Buddha is the Dhammakaya. So when you have achieved spiritual union responses, your Dhammakaya will be Amitabha Buddha. I remember Master Taptandar, he said something. He said a word. He said the whole life. So your whole life will be like a home syllable, 6-syllable. It means that everyone has Buddha nature in them and has the affinity to become a Buddha. So everyone can attain accomplishment. But because we have delusions, that's why we are not able to attain accomplishment. But because we are practicing the true Buddha Tantric Dharma, we can transform ourselves. Ourselves into the Dhammakaya as well. Next, you visualize the Amitabha Buddha transforming and multiplying to become 1,000 or 10,000 Amitabha Buddhas. This is very, very profound. And once Idam is standing in front of the cultivator, and the more subtle the visualization, one can enter into a very fine and profound realm. This is using our consciousness to practice a very profound consciousness, and the experience which one will feel is simply remarkable. So you're using your consciousness to practice. And slowly, slowly, all your distracting thoughts and delusion will be eliminated. And once those are eliminated, you will be able to enter into a very profound realm. Let's break for the Q&A one.
我们先来做个问答前的一些小准备。好，已经在这个留言区分享了这一个
I've shared in the chat box the link to the Q&A.
分钟的时间来
the link in the chat box. Alternatively, we can go to www.emittance.com and enter into the game using the codes on the screen.
除了点这个链接以外呢，大家也是可以到这个浏览器，输入 www.emittance.com， 再输入各语言频道的这一个代码。中文的有
So the respective languages have different codes.
中文频道有53846083，印尼文有的是39403782。大家都准备好了吗？我们要开始了。
Gonna start soon. Question 1. In the moon disk visualization, the disk appears between A, the sun and the moon, B, the stars and universe, C, the sky and ocean. Most of you have answered correctly. The answer is C. Question 2. Emittance of the three light blessings is a unique Tantrayana practice. It can purify cultivators A, head, hands, legs, B, body, mind, and speech, C, Dhammakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Manakaya. The answer is B. And most of you have gotten the right answer. Every one of you are getting faster with your answers nowadays. So look at the scoreboard. So look at the scoreboard for the Chinese channel. So Lotus Guanyin has the fastest fingers. And the Indonesian channel, it is Dharma sister Vanny. And in the English channel, it's Lotus Yixiang. Thank you everyone for participating. Let me return the stage to Master Lianyi. Visualizing emittance of the three light blessings. The cultivator visualize their Idam's crown chakra emitting a ray of radiant light towards the crown chakra of the cultivator. This represents purification of the body. This is also the mirror-like wisdom which transforms our five aggregates, which are the form, sensation, perception, mental formation, consciousness, and eight consciousness into formless. So the eight consciousness is our alaya consciousness. So we eliminated these unwholesome items so that they become formless. And next you visualize the Idam's throat chakra emitting a ray of radiant red light towards our throat chakra. And this represents purification of our speech and elimination of our desires, greed, and transforming them to become superior wisdom. So it's normal for everyone to have desires, greed. So by doing this visualization, we'll be able to eliminate them. Lastly, you visualize the Idam's heart chakra emitting a ray of radiant blue light towards our heart chakra. And this represents purification of our thoughts, and subjugation and elimination of our ignorance at the same time. So there's three lights, the white, red, and blue lights will help to eliminate our propensities, our ignorance, our foolishness. So with the visualize the main deity emitting this white light, red light, and blue light, and merging with the body and mind of the cultivator. And in accordance with the different idams, one can visualize their Dharma implements emitting light, blessing or giving empowerments to the cultivator. The importance of the root guru yoga. Before selecting a Yidam practice, cultivators must know that the root guru yoga is the foremost fundamental practice of the true Buddha school Dharma lineage flow. Therefore, the guru yoga is very important, and it's the result of many practices merged into one. and is a supreme practice. Hence, one must cultivate the root guru yoga till spiritual union with the root guru is attained before cultivating other idam practices. And this is because the root guru is the one transmitting the Buddha Dharma and the guru of true Buddha school who transmit the Dharma. If one becomes a Buddha in the future, this is solely due to the transmission of the Buddha Dharma by your guru. Once you've achieved spiritual responses with your guru, you will be able to attain spiritual responses with other idams as well. So the guru yoga is a practice that all tantric practitioners must cultivate. The ultimate objective being to be reborn in the city of the pure land of your idam. So once you have achieved spiritual union with your root guru yoga, Grandmaster always said that it will be easy to attain spiritual responses with other idams as well. How do you practice visualization? What are the methods? For example, if one is facing difficulty in visualization, you're not able to visualize the syllable clearly, what you can do is you can practice writing it repeatedly. Or one is not able to visualize one's idam clearly, one needs to look at the image or their idam more often. Or they can do a drawing of their idam, draw in detail the scenes and images of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in one's visualization. Using Amitabha Buddha as an example, you should draw his eyes, eyebrows, his nose, ears, face, all his features, or his facial features, his heavenly clothes, his body ornaments. This is actually painting within the cultivator's mind. And after a while, the image will be imprinted in one's heart and one's visualization will become clearer. A lot of people say that they are not able to visualize clearly. So they have to use these methods to help you. The first is to draw. Like you cannot visualize the syllable, you can write it repeatedly. And as you write, practice, it will be imprinted in your mind. It's just like others similar to the Tibetan lamas who created mandalas and Buddha images. They single-mindedly draw the images, imprinting them in their hearts. But if you have a distracting mind, it will not be possible to draw the images. So through drawing the Buddha images, the mind of the cultivator will be imprinted with these images and it will strengthen your visualization. So this is also mentioned in the Flower Garland Sutra. The Flower Garland Sutra is also known as the Avatamsaka Sutra. Avatamsaka Sutra, excuse me. I remember that's a story. The story of Zen Master Mazu Daoyi. He's the founder of the Hongzhou School of Zen. He was asked, Zen Master Dame asked Master Mazu, what is a Buddha? And Master Mazu replied, when you regard or think of yourself as a Buddha, you are one. So Zen Master Dame became enlightened the moment he heard this, and he went into a retreat at Dame Mountains. Later on, Master Mazu dispatched a monk to the mountains to send Master Dame his greetings. The monk said, Master Ma's Dharma teachings is different recently. So the monk say, Master Mazu doesn't mention about, doesn't talk about if one regards himself as a Buddha, you are Buddha. He talks about if one doesn't regard themselves as a Buddha, then one will not be. And Master Dame said, let it be. One doesn't think or regard themselves Buddha, then one will not be. I only care about regarding and seeing one as a Buddha. And when Master Matsu about this, they said the meizi, which is the plum, which is a plum. This is actually referring to Master Dame have ripened.
打破这个冥相，就变成非心非佛也是一样可以通。所以当一个真正开悟之后呢，他是四相都能够开悟，而不会受人家的一句话。
So once you're enlightened, you will not be affected by external environments.
那接下来，什么样的性？
What kind of mind visualization is the most important? If the cultivated mind is pure, their visualization will also be pure, clear, and sharp. If their mind is not pure, their visualization will be unclear, with their mind filled with distracting thoughts and even unwholesome ones. And if one has major karmic hindrances, unwholesome images will appear in their visualization. These are paths of hindrances.
我们说呢，心清净呢，你观任何事情都会很清。
We always say that when your mind is pure, everything you do is pure. So the story I would like to share with you. This is a Zen koan between about the story about Zen Master Foin and Sudongpo. So Sudongpo is a great literary scholar of Song Dynasty. He had a close relationship with Master Foin from Bishan Temple. The two often discussed Dharma scriptures, teachings, Dharma teachings, and meditated together. The way Sudongpo and Zen Master Foin meditated together for the duration of one incense stick. Sudongpo felt refreshed after the meditation and he asked Zen Master Foin, Zen Master, who do you think I look like sitting here? And the Buddhist monk replied, it's majestic, you look like a Buddha. Sudongpo was very happy to hear that, of course, and after a while, Zen Master Foin also asked Sudongpo, Scholar Su, what do you think I look like sitting here? And Sudongpo jokingly said, you look like a pile of manual. And unexpectedly, Zen Master Foin was also very happy to hear it. Sudongpo told his sister Su Xiaomei about this matter when he returned. He thought that he had won against Zen Master Foin this time. After listening, Su Xiaomei said, Brother, you lost again. Think about it. Zen Master Foin has Buddha in his heart. So you look like a Buddha to him. And think about what you have in your heart. You have something not so good in your heart, and what you saw was what you had in your heart. So when we cultivate, is actually important. The most important thing is to cultivate our heart and mind. We need to have a pure heart and mind. Don't look at the shortcomings of people. If people make a mistake, we should view it with compassion. He made a mistake, maybe he was lost for a while. So we should use if we use a different view to look at a matter, we will analyze it differently.
接下来，唯一破除的方法
The only way to break through this is by having right mindfulness. It is also helpful to have an open mind and heart take regular walks into nature, see the mountains, the lakes, nature, earth, skies, the sun, moon, and stars.
所以呢，我们修行其实就是用一种正念来对
So when
治
we
我们的
cultivate,
妄念。
we are using right mindfulness as an antidote to our delusions.
看到这些大自然，就会
And
心
once
放
your
松。
heart sees
尤
nature,
其
you
是在
feel
西
so
雅图这个
refreshed,
地方，我
especially
喜欢去到那
theater.
个萨米密湖那边
I like to look
看
at the
那
some
些山
the
看那些
lake
海
there.
很自然的环
Look
境，
at the lake, the
心里很舒服。
mountains. I feel so
我记得
refreshed and
在唐
comfortable
朝
when I
的时
look
候
at
呢，
it.
有一个
I
很
remember
出名的诗
in
人
the Tang
叫做
Dynasty,
黄
there
伟。
was a famous
大家应该听过唐朝这个诗人叫黄伟。 那么
poet,
这个
poet,
黄伟
poet.
呢，
His
为
name
什么
is
我
Wang
拿
Wei.
他来说呢？
Why am I
他
using
这个黄
him
伟呢，
to
他的
share
佛
the
缘很广，
story?
尤其是对禅
Because
宗
he's
的一
very
些
strong
这些
affinity
道
with
理呢，
Buddhism,
他
especially
很喜
Zen
欢。
Buddhism.
他另外一个称号呢，叫做
He has
摩
another,
居
he's
士。
also
为
known
什么是
as
摩羯？
Mo
维摩诘的
Jie.
解，摩诘居士。因为他特
He's
别喜欢
also
这个
known
境界，
as
就是
a
维摩
lay
居士。
practitioner, Mo
所以他
Jie.
为自己呢取了一个外号叫摩诘居士。他是唐朝的诗
So
人。
he's also known as Mo Jie. Wang Wei is also known as
我也是很喜欢的。我就是觉
Mo Jie.
得这个鸡呢，它代表
There's
修行人的
a
一个心境。
poetry that I especially liked,
我
which
讲这个诗的
represents
时候
the
呢，希望大家
mentality
能
of
够
a
再想一
cultivator.
想呢，这个
So after I
这
recite
个
the poem,
鸡
I
呢
would like
代表
you
什么？
to
你用
reflect,
一个字
think
来
about
说，
what does it
这个诗呢，
represent.
这个鸡
Just
的
use
叫什
one
么呢？
word. So what is
远看
the poem?
山
It
远色，
says, from afar, I
天
saw
空
the
水
colorful
蓝色，
mountains. From near, I
这
listened
样
to the
金
silent
花
waters.
还在，
Spring is
人
gone,
来
but the
了
flowers
不
are
惊。
still in bloom.
用
The
一个
people
字
come, but
来
the birds
代表
remain
这
still.
首诗。
So you have to use one word
远
just to
看 山
represent
远
this
色，你
poem.
远处看去，那座山是很有绿色吧，山就代表一个绿油油的，你看了就很喜欢。
So from afar, you
听
saw the
听
colorful
水的声音，
mountains.
但是你走前去
You like it
听
very
那
much.
水的声音，没有声音。
And we go near and
春
listen
去
to the
花
water
还在，
flow. It's very
春已经
silent.
过去了，但是这个花还是开得很灿烂。
Spring is
人
gone,
来
but the
也
flowers
不
are
惊。
still in bloom.
人来到你看人到这个一个地方的时候，你看那个小鸟一定会飞的嘛，但是呢，
And
人
usually
来
when
鸟
there's
不惊。
people, the birds will fly away. But in
大
this
家想到
case,
这
the
个
people come, but the
诗
birds remain
代
still.
表什么吗？
So what does this poem represent?
有一个人写定，有一个人写
One
幻，
say
甚至
meditative
有一些人写
ability.
心，
Some say
一
delusion.
个
Some
字，
say
其
emptiness.
实
Some
写
say
的也是
mind.
很好。
Some
还
say
有呢，
painting.
有
Some
人
say
写静， 安静
quietness.
静，大家都猜不到。如果
So
猜
no
到
one
的
has
话，
made the
你们
correct
很亏。
guess. I was thinking of giving the
哎，
person
这个
who
看不清楚，很小
to
的
gave
字。
the right
有一个
answer
人
a
写空，
present. Emptiness. One of the answer is
有人
emptiness.
写空，其实还差一点点。我
Well,
看
you're
我
very
我说了，
close to the
其
answer.
实呢，
Okay, let me
他
give the
用这
answer.
个字就是说画，画画的画。你
It's
想一想，在
hua.
画里面，
It
我们
means
看到
painting
山
in
是有颜
hua.
色的，
It means
很
painting in
很漂
English.
亮。你走过去听，虽然有流水的字画在里面，但是你听不到声音。那春去花还在，春天过去了，在画里面呢，它还是画得很灿烂。那人来鸟不惊，那当然了，在画中的鸟当然是不怕人嘛。所以
These
呢，
are
我说
all
代表
in
人
a
的一个
painting,
心境。
and
山代表什么呢？
they
山就代
represent
表
the
不动，
mentality of a
代
cultivator.
表着
The
静定。
mountains
不
represent
动的修行
immobility
人
and solidity.
不受外面的环境影响，因为我
Cultivators
们的
are
本
not
性
affected
坚定，
by
我
the
们会
external
学习这个
environment
山的不动。
because
那
we
我刚
have
才说到这个西雅图，
because
它
our
的白
heart
天
is like a
很
mountain.
美
It's
美，
mobile,
空
it's
气
solid.
很清新。记得有一个同门就去了西雅图，
I remember a fellow disciple who went to theater and he told Grandmaster, I like theater a lot. And Grandmaster asked him why. He said, because the air is very fresh and the environment is beautiful. So I will
一个
stay
星期过去
theater
了，
for a while. But 1 week later, he told
我要
Grandmaster,
离开西雅图了。
I have to
然后
leave theater. And Grandmaster said, didn't you say that you like theater a lot and would like to stay here for a little while longer? Why are you leaving so soon? And his fellow disciple said, it is really a beautiful place,
然后
but
真正
there's a
开
lot
始
of
就说
gossip.
请问大家哪一个地方没有是非呢？对不
Can
对？
anyone tell us what place will have no gossip?
这个还有一
And
个道理，
as
就是
we
说
all know,
如
as long
果
as there are
你
people,
在
there'll be
一个地方
gossip.
不能够待下来，其实
So what is the logic behind if you are not able to
为什么
stay
呢？因为
in
修行就
here, it
是
doesn't matter where you go.
种种的
You
事
will not
情就是
belong
我们修行的一种
as
疏远了。你听到人家的是
So
非，
in fact, the external environments
就好了。
are helping to cultivate if you're not affected by the
所以
gossips
这
you
个就是我
hear.
们修行的一个最好的一个场所啊，就是
It's a
在
way to train the
虽然有一
cultivators.
些人事的问题，但是呢，我们要
Yes, there are some human
编程的修行的一种
relationship
疏远，
problem,
所以学习
but we
善的
see it
不动，
as a way,
学习善的
as
就好。
an assistance, as
那
an
另
aid
外
to
呢，
help us
水
in our
水就代
cultivation.
表着柔软水就代表着
So
力
water
量。
represents
你看
softness
水
and
虽然它是
strength.
很
Why
柔软，
strength?
但是
Dripping
呢
water can
看
pierce
似
through
非常不
stones.
一样的。我们有一句话说地水能穿石。我最记得有人问这个老子，
I remembered someone asked Lao
他
Tzu,
问老子如何成道。
how do one
你知道老
attain
子怎么说？
Tao, attain the path?
听观察
Lao
水。
Tzu said, watch to observe the
你相信
water.
每天你拿一盆水来观察一下，
Take a
然后我们
basin
看
of
看水
water,
给
take a
我们
basin
有
of
什么
water and
启示
observe
呢？
it
给
every
我
day.
给我们有什么道理呢？其实水很柔软，
What can you
柔
draw
软
from
代表
this?
什么呢？代表
What
它
does
本身呢没有
softness
自信，
uh,
能放什
represent?
么
It means the person
你给他
uh,
什么的勇气，他就变成
it's
什么样的样
flexible,
子，
it's
就是
adaptable.
代表他呢，他的心呢是能够转化种种的环境，
His
而不受
mind
环
is
境
able to
影响。
transform.
所以
Is
水
not
还有
affected
它的
by
哲
the
学，
external
还有它水向
environment.
地流，代表
So
它的
this is a
一个人的慈
philosophy
悲。
of
学
water.
习佛法也是要有一个
When
慈
we
悲
learn
心，还
the
有
Buddha
去
Dharma,
学
we
习
must have a
别
humble
人
heart.
的长处
You must have
还
humility.
有
Learn
水
the
它本身
uh,
有很大的力
good
量
points of other
在
people.
里面，就是能够转化随缘变化，而不受环境所影响。我最
We should not be
在
affected
这个
by
我
the
是
external
演说家，
environment. We should
在
learn how to
中国
transform,
很
to
出名
adapt,
的
to adjust.
一个我是演说家，其中有一个人呢，他所说
So
的
there was a speaker,
他的故
a
事，
famous speaker
其实
in
他们我
China,
是演说家呢，都是他们在讲故
which
事，
is
可是他
I'm
呢人
I'm
生的一种
a
经历。
speaker.
那有一
This
天
is a
他在
Chinese program.
那么他读书的时候，上学的时候，经常受人家欺负。他受人家欺负之后呢，自己想
So
到
this person was in
经常受
school
人
and
家
was
欺负，
always
我怎
bullied.
么对
He
他
shared
不
about he
一样？
was always
后
bullied
来
at
他
school.
就想到自己要去练拳，所以他
So
就
he
去
was
练
thinking,
这
what
个
can I do
练
to
这个
protect
拳。
myself?
他心里想，只有拳头才可
I
以
will
练
go
我的
and
武
learn
艺。
martial
所
arts
以当时呢，
only
他
if
练了
I
拳之后呢，只要在
only
拳
if
上
after
有
I have
人欺
learned
负他，
martial arts,
他就跟人家
I will be able to
起
fight back
用
if
用拳
anyone
头来
bullies
起手，
me.
就是打架的意思了。
So
后来
which
呢，
means he will fight.
他年纪离开学校之后呢，他就去
After
了
he
北
left
京。
school, he
去
went
北
to
京
Beijing.
做什么工作？做摄
And
影
what was
的
he
工作。
working at?
你知道做摄影呢是要
He became
练
a
手的，
photographer.
练脸的。所以他的老师呢，经常教他，你学摄影就是要把你的脾气，把你不好
So
的
if
那些
you are a
习
photographer,
性
you
把
have
它刷出
to
来。
you need to be more even temper. You cannot be hot temper. So when Xinjiang
新疆人经常受人家欺负。有一次呢，他坐在这个火车上面，他就和那个指的北京人
he was
用这个
so in when he was in Xinjiang,
就是狠狠
some
打
from
了他一下。
bully this person from
自己没有
Xinjiang,
还手，还
but
还对那个人笑了一下。
he did not
当下
do anything and even smile at the person who bullied him, who
他
pushed
能够
him,
忍
who
受被
elbowed
人家
him.
欺负他，他不
So he
还
was
手，
able
并不
to
代表他怕他。
so
而是
he doesn't
他
fight
内
back.
心的
It doesn't mean
力
he's
量
afraid
比别人家
of
的强。
this person,
所以当下他
but
很
he
明白，
has this
所以你很如果他跟人家打斗呢，很
has
容
this
易就
strength
拳
in
头就
his
可以。
mind. It
但
is
是
always
呢，
easy to
如
resolve a
果你
problem by
忍受
fighting.
人家的欺负呢，你内
But if you
心
want to
还
tolerate
要
the bullying of
忍
other
受
people,
你的冲动，忍受你那种不平衡的心态，所以这个
you
是
must
很难的。
hold
所
back
以他这个
the
题目叫做忍的力量。就是跟大家
ability
讲
that you feel in your mind.
经常
So
大家 比如
this
说
is
说一
about
句不好
the
听的话，或者别人
power
说
of
你不好，
tolerance.
那我们呢，其实
So if someone
跟
is
别
not
人有一
you,
种忍让，并不是代表
we
我们
should try
这是我们修
to
行人的一种
tolerate.
忍
But
让
tolerance
是代
doesn't
表我
mean
们
that
内心的一种
we are
力
afraid of the
量，一
person.
种强大。那另外呢，
It's
这个花
actually very
花代
powerful.
表什么呢？花代表
So
花
what does
开的过
flowers
程，
represent?
就是代表这个
Blooming
开
and
的过程。
withering. This is the
大家
process
知道
of
忍受的
life.
过程就好像花开
We
很
know
灿
that the
烂，
process of life
花
is
落
just
就
like the
像一场
flower. They will
一事
bloom
无常。那么
and they will
在这
also
个过程
wither
呢，我觉得
and
忍
it
受
is
这个过程花
impermanent.
开花落，我们可以用一种比较好的心情来欣赏这个花。在这个花
We
这个
can
这个
use
花开花落这个
look
过
at
程，就
this
好像忍让的
process
过程，我
uh,
们可以做一些
with
延
a more
伸
with a
其
more
他或者
positive
是
perspective from a more
我觉得
positive
这个
perspective.
花也是给我们有一种启发。有一句话很喜欢的，落
So
花不是
flowers
离
actually
愁，
would give us
花
some
在春
inspiration.
里更
So
辉
that
煌。
this
什
poetic
么意思呢？
phrase, the falling
花
flowers
凋
are not
花
to be
凋谢了，
blamed.
不
They
代表
transform
它没
to
有
spring
风
mud
景。
to
虽然
protect
花
the
凋谢
flows.
了，
It
但是呢，
simply means
它
that the
还是
flowers may have
还
withered,
是
but it doesn't mean
能
they are
够变成
useless.
一种养分，一种
But they
力量，
become the falling flowers, the
来
withered
继
flowers
续的
became a
后
fertilizer
面的花成长。
and
所以我记得
continue.
他
These
的这个
fertilizers helped
虽然表面上它已经凋
the
谢
other
了， 好
flowers
像
to
是没
grow
有用的，
beautifully.
但是呢，它还是继续的发挥它的功能，变
But
成
in
一种
fact,
养分，
the
变成
withering
一种肥
flowers
料，
are not
去
useless.
来
They
帮助
continue
其
to
他
be
的花
useful
成长。
and help
我
other
觉得这
flowers
就
to
是
grow.
它的意思。
So this is
然
what
后
it
最后
meant
一
in
句
this
话
poetic
就是
phrase.
鸟，代表着自由。
And the next
所以
phrase
有一
talks
句
about
话是
birds.
有缘
Birds
真是
represent
无缘善，一日清
freedom.
风送鸟
And the
归。
phrase reads,
所以
with
我们要
affinity
自
one
由，
will
一
stay,
定要像
without
鸟一样
affinity one will leave.
自由自在，像鸟一样
Let the
飞
breeze
鸟
send the
可以
birds
怎么样
flying.
有它的翅膀？它的翅膀代表什么呢？
So
就
what
代
does
表
the
着
wings
飞奔
of
向日。
the
所以一
birds,
个修行人呢，你
what
要
does the
在这个
wings
娑
of the
婆
birds
世界
represent?
能够自由自在，
They
你
represent
一定要
compassion
有
and
这个
wisdom.
悲之双璧，缺少
So
一
you
个
need to have
就不
both.
你只
You
有慈
can't
悲，没
have
有智慧
either one.
不行。
If you have
因为你
compassion
只
but
有
no
慈悲，
wisdom,
你
that
就
doesn't
是
work.
你没有智慧去判断一些
If you have
好还是
compassion
坏。
but no wisdom, you
像
will
我
not
在温
be
哥华，
able to
唐人街有一些
you will
女
not be
中介，
able
女
to
的，她跟你要钱，你给不给她？她
analyze
肚子饿。
what is
如果
right
你给
and
她钱，她
wrong
就
or
来
judge what
跟
is
你
right
来
and
了。
wrong,
所以
what
这个
is
有慈悲，没有智慧也不行。但是
so
你
if you
有
have
智
wisdom
慧，
and no
你有慈
compassion,
悲
it
也不
doesn't work
行。
also.
那你有智慧，可
You
能有
must
的
have
人
both.
会走一些更加偏差的，像现在我们发明了很多的一些武器，化学武器一些什么什么炸弹之类的。
For example, we have a lot of new wall equipment. Well, definitely they have wisdom, they have intelligence, but if they let compassion, if they let the compassion and wisdom, this might create into something no, not very good.
练习观想的方法，唯一破除的方法就是必须要这个已经讲了，广大无量心产生出来的时候，
So develop a vast, immeasurable heart. When your heart becomes as such, your thoughts will be natural and pure. There will be no unwholesome thoughts during visualization.
好像到了。观想的时候是解
So the workaround methods when we visualize, we will form mudra, but at times when one faces time constraint or is on public transport, it will not be possible to do the first 7 steps in the preliminary practice. Example, the great homage prostration, the 4-fold refuge mantra, mandala offering, etc. Instead, the cultivator can do a simple practice, which is the main practice. Proceed directly to visualization, mantra recitation, entering into samadhi. So this is the workaround method that Grandmaster has taught us. But on typical days, one has to cultivate a complete tantric practice, not just the 3 steps. You must have preliminary practice, main practice, and closing practice. A combination of these 3 forms a complete sadhana.
那么平时修法呢，也是要做前行、正行、后行，才是一个完整的。
So Master Lianyi is stressing that we must do the prelim practice, main practice, and closing practice on normal days, because all these 3 combine to form a complete sadhana. It's only when cultivators are restrained by time and location, then they can cultivate the main practice. So let's go to Q&A too. The question is, the question is, which is the wrong method for practicing visualization? A, draw images of one's idam. B, write repeatedly the 6 syllables of one's idam. C, look at mountains and lakes.
答案是 C， 看山看水。问题是，如果修法环境条件不好时
Question 4. If one's environment is unfavorable for cultivation, how can they work around this? A, do the main practice only. B, do the preliminary practice only. C, do the closing practice only.
The
answer is A. You can just do the main practice.
大家都已经完成了今天的问答环节。
Completed questions today.
非常棒，都很迅速的回答今天的问题。
Is great and answer the questions quickly.
拿到最高分的有莲花冠廷。
So on the scoreboard, Chinese scoreboard, 莲花冠廷 is the winner over winner.
我们来看看一下印尼版的有到谁呢？
Asian channel.
还是 Vanny 师姐，恭喜
The overall winner is Vanny, Lotus Vanny.
最后的英文版有莲花异想师兄。
And for the English channel, Lotus Isang as the overall winner. Congratulations, everyone. Everyone is great today. Thank you for participating.
谢谢袁志正。我们又到了小节了。
You know, at our summary.
小节观想三观
Visualizing the emittance of the 3 light blessings is in the main practice and a very important segment in the sadhana. Through visualization of the emittance of the 3 light blessings, The cultivator purifies his body, mind, and speech.
此时此刻就是在修正行者的
During this segment, the cultivator is correcting their thoughts, body, and mind. There is Siddhi, which is enlightenment, Buddha nature, and the Dhammakaya. The radiance in the void shining on the cultivator, this represents cultivating one's mind and thoughts.
当行者能够与这佛光融入的时候，能够
When the cultivator is able to merge perfectly with this Buddha light, they will no longer be afraid of death.
为什么很多人都害怕这个死亡这两个字呢？
So why is everyone
就是因为很多人
afraid
不知道
of
自己
death?
将来
Because they don't know where they will go.
所以当你经历一些
At the end of the
一些
day,
很特别的事情，人生很
so we would experience
深
something
层次的一
very
些经历之
special,
后呢，
like, for
你的
example,
人
life
生
and death
观就会
experiences,
改变的。
your
所以我
perspective
看
towards
一个
life will
一
change.
篇文章，就是
I've read
说
an
一个
article
战地的记
before
者，是个女记者，
about a war
战地
correspondent
记者呢，她就去这个
who
战
went
地
to
做采
war-torn
访。为什么
countries
她要做这些采
to
访呢？
report the
她
scene.
是希望
Why
能
does
够将这个
why
战
does he
争的
want to do
事实
reporting
来
in the
告诉
war-torn
世人。
areas?
在
Because he wants to
战
use
争
his
里面
factual
呢，
reports
其
to
实
awaken
这
the
个
world
城那个地
to the
方真的是
cruelty
很
of the
恐
war,
怖。大家也看一看
the
这
destructions
个
of families,
这个
displacement, panic and
资
fear,
源
and the
上
preciousness of life. Just
呃
look at the current situation in
以
Russia
前
and
叫苏联
Ukraine.
啊，现在我不知道叫什么，俄罗斯跟这个乌克
Russia
兰
and
战争，你
Ukraine,
看一看这个情况呢，你就会
the
深
situation.
有一种很特
I'm
别的
sure
感
you
受，就
can
是觉得
feel
自己
that
很幸福，在那个地方
we
呢，真的
are
是很
very
安
lucky
全，因为
compared
你
to
今
them.
天也不知道明天还能不能够
You
活
don't
着
know
回
what,
来。 所
because
以他
in
写的
for
这
them,
个
they wouldn't know
在
whether
战
they will be
地呢
alive the next
找
day.
到自己，因为他看到战争的残酷，家破人亡，
Because he
民
saw the
不幸
cruelty of war
经
and
历
how
到那个
families are
经历，
being
所以他
displaced
觉
and
得生
distracted,
命真的很珍贵。
feel that
他就
life
写
is
的
really
在战地
precious.
上找到自己。
And
那
she
这
wrote an
个
article
这
which is
个
finding
文
yourself
章
on the
呢，因为他
battlefield.
写了几个重点，就是在战
There
地
are
上
a
很
few
多
main
体
points
现
that
人
she
与
has
人之间的
highlighted.
关系是
What
怎
is the
么样。
relationship between people
你
on
会
the
知道
battlefield?
自己需要什么，不
What do
需
you
要什
need
么。
and what do you not need?
环境令你进行一种思想和判断。
The environment
回
requires you
到
to be
城之后，
engaged in a
我突然
specific
发现
mindset and
有些事
judgment.
情对我已经不重要了。一些物质
After
上的东
returning
西
to the
我
city,
不喜欢
I
在
suddenly
身上。
realized that some things were no
对
longer
别人
important to
评
me.
价
I
和
no
评
longer
论
like to pursue
也
material
不
things,
能阻挡我
and the
对自己的
evaluation
想
and
法。
comments of
所
others
以
can no
这个就
longer
是他
hinder my ideas.
所写下的几个重点。
So
那
these are
我
the two
讲
few
出来，
important
就
points
是
that
希望
she
大
has
家也可以
highlighted
稍
in the
微思
article.
考一下，
I
我们
share
的
this
人
with
生
you
什
because
么
I
是
would
最
like
重要
you
的？
to
那么我
pause
们的人生
and
什
think
么
about your life,
需要的，什么
what you
不
need
需
in
要
your
的。
life and what do
所
you
以
not
当你
need
经
in
历
your
这些
life.
事情呢，你
And
会
once you've
有这
experienced
个
all
两个
this,
方面，你的人生的
your
价值观在哪
your
里呢？
perspective, your
所以当
values
你
and perspective
了解
towards
这些
life
的时候呢，你
may
自己
become different
有自己的答案，我觉得是最重要的。
and you will find your
很
answers.
多人都会
I
说
think that's most
世间
important.
是无常的，这一句话
Everyone knows
是没有
that
错。但是呢，
the
你有
world
没有
is
深入去
impermanent,
体会
but
这
have
个
you
无常这两个字的
consider
深意在
reflect
哪里
in
呢？
depth
你真正
the
了解
meaning
之后呢，
behind?
你心里
Once you
会
have understand
触
this,
动，你有一种特别的感受，那个
you
是
will you will
体
feel
会到
very
这个无常的
deeply
道理。如果
about
只
the
是
meaning of
说了
impermanence.
日常生活，你没有触动你的心，你还是只是知道，而没有真
And
正
in
的
your
了
daily
解
life,
它的
if you
深
have
意在哪
not
里。好像
have
刚
not
才
have
从
this
大
deep
师讲的这
realization,
个最后
it
的
is
一个
still
故
very
事，
superficial.
我
So
刚
let me
刚地
tell
震，在一个学校，
so let me share a
那
story
么
about the
他们
earthquake
正在
in
上课
Wenchuan.
的时候，忽
So
然
when
间
the students were having
大
a
地震发
class,
生了，
an earthquake
整
occurred.
个教室几十个学生老师一下子
The
倒下来，
whole
只有
school
唯一的一个学生
shook.
还活着。
And everyone, all the students and teachers died except for one student.
其他的都已经受得很严重的伤害，很多都是对他说对这个新带的这个人说，你要坚持的活下来，你要帮我。
And the people who are dying told him that you must live on our behalf. You must see how the world is. And we heard how the other students heard. He was very touched. He was unharmed. He didn't die, but he lost both his legs. So every time when he shared with people the story, he would pat his heart and point to the sky and say, his life was given by the people who died. I point at the sky because whatever I do is together with the other students who have sacrificed, we are seeing the world together. So in the end, what profession that he's ended with? He became a speaker who talked about the life's purpose. So what he said, use one life to influence another lives. So he's using his realization to teach others. So through his, he wants to use this influence to encourage people. He did a painting where he drew 3 moons. One moon is a crescent moon, and the other moon is a half moon, and the third moon is a full moon. And what does these 3 moons represent? They represent a person's life, a person's life's journey. So your life is like the moon. It may be crescent at times, maybe a half moon or a full moon. Just like we thought, the moon the moon is not perfect at times. And so it's the same for a person. We are not perfect. So in life's journey, it's just like a moon. There are good things, there are bad things. But during bad times, how should we face bad times or bad situations? So there are people with disability or who faces a lot of hardship. How do they stand up from the situation? How do they step out from the situations? So we are actually very lucky because we are full body and we are able to learn the Buddha Dharma. So that's the biggest wealth we have in our life. So it's important in our life's journey. Apart from cultivation, there is none to it. Only when you cultivate, you can be liberated. We can liberate from our afflictions, and then we will be reborn. We will reach our city. I feel that I feel that this is a meaningful life with value. I reached the end of my lesson. Thank you for listening, Amitabha, everyone.
演绎上是精彩的授课，以及说了这么多生动的故事。
Thank you, Mosley, for his exciting and interesting class and for sharing all the short stories. So the Emittance of Tree Lighting is the
新的特点，我们需要借他的手印，观想他奏字的变化。
different mudras the different syllables.
观想主尊咒字
The
多
visualization
次练习
on
观
six syllables should be clear, and we just need to practice it a little bit.
而每
We'll be
一
able
次
to visualize them clearer. With each practice, we will be able to down more clearly into our heart. So if
也
Mom
明
is
白
pure, everything
各位
will
莲花
also
同
be pure and clear. So all Padma Kumaras, have you
解惑的环节，
from
您
this
有
lesson?
任何的问
So
题，
this
可以
we
的在 Zoom、
to Q&A next. You can submit the questions either on Facebook, YouTube, in the Zoom chat box, or turn on your microphone, and Master Lianyi will answer our questions. Let's look at the questions from
Facebook 的提问。我先把
which
这
is
个问
from
题
the
放
questions are
前
from
区，
Facebook.
然后一一的
Let me
念
put the question in the chat box.
恭请莲意上师为大家来解答。好，这个第一题是来
The
自
first question
Andrew Lim，
from Andrew
问
Lee.
题是，请问上师，
Dear
佛
Master,
挂在墙壁的
if
可以
my altar is hung on the wall, is this okay? Is this all right? Or the legs should be placed on the floor? Would that be a better
这个
choice?
呢，其实要做这个坛城或者这个我们讲的神台，最好是有落地有脚的不要悬挂在
Master
空，就是半空中。
best
因为
that
我看到很
the
多，因为
altar
地
should be on the floor. It should not be hung on
就
the
放在
people because they want to save space and hang the altar on the floor.
挂在墙壁这个意思，就是挂。然后呢，下面的人走来走去，我觉得
And
这
then there
个
are people walking below the
要
altar. I
有
don't think this is very good. You must have a altar firmly on the floor
聚气的地方。
and at a place where it's where it's good qi,
我们还有下一题，就是
able to accumulate qi.
他的问题是这样
This， question is from YSK. He said, "Dear Master, when I cultivate,
可以吗？
I
除了是特别的情况以外呢，我觉得如果你是能烧香的话，
feel that unless there are
烧
acceptable
香也
reasons for
是
not
最好，
doing so,
因为
yes,
香也
you
是
should
代
light
表一
up
种供养
incense.
嘛，也是代表一个行者
Incense represents
心意，所以能烧的话呢，最好是买一
the
些
best is
好
to light
来供
incense.
养佛菩萨，
Incense, good, great
如果
incense to offer to
那是另当别论，
Bodhisattva.
那就
So
可以有
if there are
开源的
acceptance and
方
constraints,
法。
then you cannot be excused.
对，第三个问题来自 Sam Chu， 上师您好，
Third question comes from
修
Chu.
200坛吗？
Dear Master, must I complete 200 sessions of Vajrasattva practice, or can I cultivate Padmasambhava practice straight away?
基础法，基础法就是以
Vajrasattva
200坛
is
为一
fundamental
个
practice
一个圆满一个
session
阶
as
段嘛。所以一般上你修了200坛的话呢，才
after
修
you've
本
completed
尊
200 sessions,
上师相应法
and then you will
会比较好，因为我
practice
们修行呢，最重要还
you
是
cultivate
先消
each
除
practice
自己的业障，而且
because
这个
Vajrasattva practice help to eliminate our
是兼顾我们道心的一个方法。所以基
eliminate
础
our
打得
perfect
稳
karma.
呢，那么我们在
So, and it's a foundational practice, have I mentioned? So it's important to have a firm foundation before
或者又另当别论
to other practices.
200坛为基础先做这个功课，然后再修你的本尊会比较好。
好，谢谢上师。以上3道都是上周来自 FB 的提问。
So all these questions are
今天
from
有哪
last week's and from FB.
问呢？我看到有来自
Oh,
Tiffany
this
Shu
week,
的
Emittance
这位师姐，她的提问是：阿弥陀佛，莲意上师曾经提到4重结界，可否请上师详细
Emittance Master talk about the 443 practice.
观想和信众呢？
Could
上师
could you explain a little bit? Show the mudra.
所以他就会我讲一讲这个4重结界
I can explain
上一次我
about
是略有讲过，
boundary practice.
就是
Master
这个嘛，就是金刚
boundary practice.
金刚墙金刚火焰这4个。
Vajra, the vision net, the vision walls.
Om 阿弥达
This
吽
is the
棒，
mantra.
阿弥达吽棒。好像我上一次念的是念错了，我念的大的如来的心咒 Om 贝扎达多饭，这个是很容易混乱的，所以师从姐姐呢是 Om 阿弥达吽棒，如明黄的这个手印。那么它第一个呢
So
，Om
the
你
mantra should be
念
Om Amita Om Pang.
阿弥达吽棒嘛，就是先四
So
个
when you
四个角都
mantra,
四个角落都有金刚杵。
you have to visualize the four corners of the house has four doorways, four visual four doorways.
从虚空
And
有一
then
个
you open up, which represents the vision net, to descend to cover the entire house.
然后呢，你打开
And then you open up and turn the other way.
这个代表金刚墙，
This represents the vision walls.
四个墙壁都密密的用这个金刚墙来守护，
covering all four sides of the walls as a protection.
或者你可以顺时转一下，
Or you can even turn it clockwise
已经
to visualize the four walls, four visual walls
最后就是
on a house, and then give the light fire. This is a visual fire. This is the mantra. Please look.
点一下，然后呢
Using the finger to touch the palm. This is to signify lighting the incense.
还有滴鸡你都全部都
And then the fire and the whole house will be surrounded by the visual fire. And then this is the last mudra you form, like the winds of like the smoke offering method represents the fire rising and the house being protected, and the fire going around the house, protecting the environment. Is that clear?
示范着是从结界的手印观想以及心咒。那再看看下，还有下一题是来自马来西亚的莲花 Jenny
from a Malaysian fellow disciple.
吉祥。弟子想问，如果是从事农业在外工作，不小
I
心
would like
有
to ask him engage in agriculture and accidentally killed insect.
里面有蚊虫，掉倒到水里会杀害生命，那该如何呢？
这个
So what should I do?
每天呢修法都要回向给那些有意无
So
意
you will
杀
have to do meditations to these insects that you have accidentally killed, or register them for Grandmaster Dharma ceremony, because it's not intentional, but it's still a killing.
令到他们失去生命的时候呢，最好
Because you have caused them to lose a life. So it's best to use the power of the Dharma to help them. Do your best. Like I mentioned the last time, we should form the Great Ocean Deliverance Mudra and visualize all these insects like ants or the animal spirits sitting on the Dharma vessel, and you recite maybe 21 times, 1 or 8 times the rebirth mantra, and pray that they will be promoted to a better place because they've already lost their life. So what you can do is only use the Buddha Dharma to help them to elevate their position.
好，谢谢上师。
Thank you,
接
Master.
下来这一题呢，
The next
我必须
question.
要分享一下题目啊，劳动师兄
I
的
have
提问。
to share the screen from Lao
那
Zhong
劳动师
师兄。
兄的提问是：上次
Lao Zhong Dharma brothers,
的写法
Lao Zhong said he said the writing for Om Mahom, for example, in this image,
这一个图
or this image,
类似于中文的协书、行书草书，所以写法的不同吗？
it seems that there are very it seems that there are different ways of writing. There are different ways of writing the different syllables. So what should we follow? So there are many different ways of writing Om
所以我觉得是按照我们中委会的
I feel that it should be in accordance with what is in the sadhanas, in the official sadhanas.
或者你观想其他的或者这个观想你习惯的，那么你写
Or
有写
you can visualize using the syllables which are familiar with, which are already used to in your daily practice. But if you ask about what is the correct standard, it should be according to Grandmaster T
以这个为准确。
and according to what's in the sadhana published by TBF. Thank you, Master, for your answer. We will have one last question.
点蜡烛代表烧香可以吗？因为香的烟雾
Can I light a candle instead of an incense?
消防系统响起，
Because it might trigger fire, the fire alarm
点蜡烛不是
indoors.
更大的火。其实我是这样
Wouldn't lighting a candle create a bigger fire? Create a greater reaction from the smoke detector, sorry, the smoke detector. Why do you want to use the candle to place the incense? Each one has their own, each one have their symbolism. Or you can just kneel down and put your palms together and use it to represent a kind of incense from the heart.
用这个蜡烛来观想，变化成整个虚空宇宙，变成一个很光亮。我觉得这个就是你做供养蜡烛呢就用来做供养，那么你合掌呢就代表你的心香。我觉得这样子也是没有什么冲突。你不方便烧香嘛？可以的，我觉得。
谢谢上师的解答。那再看看最后一次还有没有最后一个问题呢？
Let's see whether there's another question.
应该是没有了。那我们应该可以
We
说
don't have any more questions. I think that's the end of the class today.
一个最后的尾声，也就是说再见的时刻。
It's
恭
time to
请
say goodbye.
给大家
Please invite Master Lianyi. Invite Master Lianyi to say goodbye to everyone. Let's put our palms together and thank
让今天
for reading the light to bless the class and for successful deliverance of the class. We would like to thank Master Chen Chu, Director of Education, Master Lian Han. Thank you to Master Lian Jia, PR Director, Master Lian Fei, all masters. Thank you to all masters, reverends, Dharma instructors, Dharma assistant, Master of Ceremony, all interpreters, all Dharma assistants, all counselors. And thank you to all fellow disciples for participating in this class. Amitabha.
根本传承上师方光加持今天课程。
Thank you to Living Buddha Lian Shen for blessing the class. We benefited a lot from the class today and would like to thank Master Chen Chu, Master Lian Han, Master Lian Jia, Master Lian Fei. I would like to thank all counselors and so the DAHUA for creating the beautiful PPT. And thank you everyone, Lily DA for creating all the publicity material and our production people and everyone who provide assistance to make this class possible, and all interpreters from Singapore, myself, and DA Fengli from Indonesia. And thank all public cameras from Facebook, YouTube, Zoom for accompanying us through the class. Thank you. See you next week. Amitabha.
感恩联合上师阿弥陀佛。
谢谢丽言助教主持的非常好。 翻译们辛苦了。
哎呦看到廉价上市，感恩你，阿弥陀佛。
拜拜，下节课见了。
拜拜，
下次见。
拜拜，谢谢。